Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 325, and today we're doing battle with the Banana Blaster timelines. And so, if you're a daily follower, I'll say this before we really dive into the video. I'm going to try my best to keep up with the daily videos over the course of the next week, but no guarantees that that's going to happen. I'm a little bit busy with life, a little bit busy with work. We're in this lull time between the end of the World Ender and the new competitive season and the rotation and everything, and so it's a good time to just slow down for a video or two before we really dive in here on March the 29th. And so if you weren't familiar with the little whoopsies, I guess, from Riot, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but on the announcement screen within the game client, they do have the teaser screen for the new set, Glory and Devori, coming out on March the 29th. It's got Set here on the right, Samira to the left, and then Jack the Winner. Interestingly, not a champion, but perhaps a new Runeterra champion like we saw with Norra as the highlights of this upcoming set, if you will. And so the spoiler season has ideally begun. I'll try to keep up with it as best as I can, but again, no guarantees until around the 29th or so, and then of course we'll dive in as hard as possible as soon as the rotation hits and the new cards are here. Quite the exciting time to be within Runeterra. And so, to get back to the Banana Blaster timelines, we took a note from Dave Bow. Dave Bow over on the EU server was the one to be the first to figure out, or if not the one to figure it out, the first to popularize playing Banana Blaster with the concurrent timelines. We took a cue from him and did put together a Jace-based version. I like a lot of the concepts and ideas that come from Jace and using concurrent timelines with him, but now it's time to kind of go back to the OG version, if you will, and take a peek at this Norra Concurrent Timelines Banana Blaster deck. And so, if you're not familiar with the main combo of the deck, you're going to use the Concurrent Timelines. This is everything the deck is built around, and it says, for the rest of the game, the first time you play a follower each round, you pick one of 3 followers of the same cost and transform your played unit into that follower. And so the main idea we're going to be using with this deck is we'll play a card like Conchologist. It's most certainly understated on its own. You typically get about 5 stats out of a 2-cost unit, but the big thing with Conchologist is it generates the spell. You get to manifest a spell that costs 3 or less. And so if you've played Concurrent Timelines, you get to play the Conchologist, you get the spell, and then you get to upgrade the Conchologist into a real battle-heavy based unit since we've played the timelines. And that's what all of our units are good at here. Everyone from the Zonite Urchin all the way down to the Fan Club President are fairly understated units, but they all generate a card or have an effect, and then they can be upgraded into a slightly better unit because of the timelines. And so with the release of the 4.2 patch, the Banana Blaster was the new card to add into the mix with this. If you're not familiar with the interactivity, you play the Banana Blaster, the playability goes onto the stack, that's the little circle ability that goes up on the screen, and it's going to deal damage equal to the Banana Blaster's power. And so if we've played the timelines, we play the Banana Blaster, we morph the Banana Blaster into a 4/4, it's now going to deal 4 damage with this playability as opposed to the 2 that it would normally get. It's a very huge value swing, a very huge amount of damage if you're able to random into a good card. And so that is the game plan A. Play the concurrent timelines early, morph all of our value units into real units while picking up additional cards along the way. Plan B is kind of what happens if you don't draw the concurrent timelines. And with that, we just need to stall the board a little bit. If you just played the singleton format, you got to value out your opponent with a bunch of card generation and a bunch of card draw. That's another thing that this deck is quite capable of doing. The Conchologist generating cards, the Aloof and the Fan Club President also generating cards, within the improvised units also generating equipment. And so we have a fair amount of value, a fair amount of play in terms of a plan B in the event that the concurrent timelines doesn't come online. Is our deck fully powered up? No, but is it capable of handling a mid-rangey style game? Absolutely it can. Last thing to call out is ideally we will be getting the concurrent timelines early, but if we don't get it in our initial hand and we're able to draw it by, say, turn 4 or turn 5, then we can still get a lot of power and a lot of value out of it. It doesn't necessarily have to be played on the second or third turn of the game. Ideally, it will, but that's not always going to be the case, and that's where Norra starts to come in. Norra and the Portal Palooza give us a fantastic way to just stall out the game If we could get Norra down early and generate a portal or two, those additional units should give us a fair amount of time to really stall out the board a little bit until we can hopefully draw our timelines. But if in the event we don't, those additional units can, just trade into the opposing stuff. Hopefully we can kill off those units with the Banana Blaster and then carry on with our value game. And so that's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. I noticed this on the screen over here. The Runeterra Open, not available. It is no longer here, but that's okay. We had a good time with the Runeterra Open. If you want to go back and watch some Singleton, I've got a couple videos on the channel of that. Okay, we got our first opponent of the day. We're up against Annie Jen. Sorry I had to cut away from the loading screen there, but we're going to try our best to just get as much stuff on the board as early as possible. I'm not entirely intent on playing this Concurrent Timelines on turn 2. If we can wait until turn 3 or turn 4 to get it down, that's completely fine. I'm looking at this. Piltover Castaway is a means of maybe improvising a little bit and almost playing on curve, so that we can get the timelines on board. But being up against Annie Jen, the name of the game here is going to be just don't take damage. And so we may not be able to get the timelines down as fast as we want, but that's going to be our goal here, is to get the timelines on board. And then, get these castaways on board and then play the timelines a little bit of time from now. So we didn't have enough stats to handle this Boom Crew rookie. We can look to Mystic Shot him on an upcoming turn, but I felt okay just going ahead and dropping Norra since she could get in front of the Crackshot Corsair. Now, ideally, we're going to be getting out in front of the opponent here a little bit. We have the Norra to hopefully generate a unit in due time. And, we got some good blockers out here and stuff. We got some interactivity in our hand. No complaints as far as our ability to slow down the opponent. And so we have a potential really good turn next turn if he doesn't open attack on us. He has a pretty good open attack here, but if he adds, say, like a stage hand to the board, and then we get the opportunity to both Mystic Shot Annie and Pokey Stick the Boom Crew rookie, we just got a lot of damage prevention happening now. Ooh, we portaled off a new unit as well. Well done, Bust. Well done. Opponent is probably a little sad to see the Twisted Catalyzer come onto the board. Interesting choice in stunning our Castaway. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to throw Norra away here. We have to come in and prevent some of this damage. And I think it's okay to get in front of the Boom Crew rookie. We can ideally block the Tusk Speaker next turn, maybe get a full damage prevent on it, but if the Boom Crew rookie's free to attack next turn, we're just most certainly taking that damage. And so it's a little bit of extra damage up front. We do have to worry about things like Decimate coming out of this deck, but I'm hoping we're big enough now to just get in front of his dudes and not take damage from something like a Tusk Speaker. But we can drop the timelines. We'll bring in the Castaway now. See if he brings in a excitingly sized unit. Not really. These units are all pretty garbage. But it was worth a shot. Now he's at least big enough to block the Tusk Speaker. And then we have the mana for next turn for either a Fan Club President or a Portal Palooza. So I'm just attacking with our low health bros at the moment. If he wants to get in front of these, that's fantastic. This is a fairly weak block from the opponent. You definitely want to be in the space to where you're trading your units away and getting damage out of them, I should say. And so what he just did there, he blocked with his Overwhelm unit, so it's not going to deal any damage. That's not really what you're looking to have happen with Annie Jen. So here I did go ahead and play a unit. It might be a bit of a mistake in the sense that we don't have the mana to Fan Club President now. I'm not super excited about what we just did, but I was looking to get the healthy stats onto the best blocker that we have. All right. Just pick up a 3-1 here. No overwhelms. Maybe we'll get to production surge out of this. It's like, I don't think we're going to get it, but I like taking the opportunity to at least pick up to at least pick up some of these. So if he's going to stun our catalyzer, we want it to be the one in front of the stage hand. There we go. So yeah, not good. We probably messed this up. I feel like we were kind of swinging for the fences here a little bit, and if we'd picked up if we'd kept that mana back and dropped the Fan Club President, we had a little bit stronger selection of spells. Oh, interesting. We're just gonna fall to 1 here. I still don't. I'm not certain. Like, we would be singing a different tune if we hit better on our. If we hit better on our Conchologist and we're able to shut down more of this attack. Alright, I'm just going to pass it here. I was hoping we could production surge and get 2 or 3 blockers down, but a little bit too slow. Alright, in with the Fan Club President. Don't mind the Shunpo here. Gives us a bit of opportunity to maybe win the game this turn. And then, oh boy, Radiant Guardian was here. I wish we had a way to get that lifesteal. That would be such a game ender, but not gonna be the case. I think we still want the 4-5 instead of the 5-3, since it's capable of getting in front of Jhin. Right, because the idea I have with this board is we're going to put the Scout onto the Radiant Guardian, and then attack, and then we're going to play Bird, attack again, and then we'll Shunpo. And ideally, we'll be able to get out in front of this and win the game before he draws a burn spell.
You will be scoured from this land.
Came a long way for a bullet. Missed.
All right, and a Boom Crew rookie. So this is kind of interesting. In this space, you need to have a target for Shunpo, and if he loses all of his units, we can't cast it. But I suspect he's at the worst going to put the Boom Crew rookie down in front of Bird the Bellringer, and we'll still have a unit in the back line to take down. This is actually perfect for us with him putting 2 damage onto Jhin. Now we get the Shunpo onto Jhin, along with the victory. Rip. little bit of ripperino there. Send in the damage, and GG. Now, let me say, if we are the ones playing all the dirty manifest cards and generating stuff like Shunpo and stealing wins we don't deserve with it, that's okay. If the opponent is out here playing something like Seraphine, then they don't like to have fun. Be sure to be sure to make that distinction as you play. And so if you are a Legion rearguard lover like myself, if you really appreciate dropping a 1-drop and making an attack, we're allowed to manifest into stuff like that and call it a good day. But again, if someone's playing like Seraphine, Ezreal, or some kind of Annie deck that's got control elements to it, F all them. They are dirty, no fun havers. That's just the way life works, you know. But, all right, back to game 2 here, up against Jace Lux. I was trying to find the concurrent timelines. This is not a particularly strong matchup for us. We need things to go fairly right against this. We aren't aggressive enough to scare the opponent in the early game, but then as well, we're not going to out-control them in the late game. And so we have a lot to worry about as far as this opponent is concerned. So I'm going to lead off with the Conchologist. I don't want to immediately drop Norra and have her just get popped with a Mystic Shot or a Thermogenic Beam. And so ideally, we'll be able to play her on the next turn. Right? Opponent's going to tap out with their 6 mana here for like an assembly line. Ideally, we can get Norra down and then hit her with a Wandering Shepherd next turn and be a little bit protected. Well, this is not going how I intended. I think for better or worse, this is for better, but not the way I was expecting this to go. You probably just got to pick up the removal spell. I just don't expect that we're ever going to cast it, as though is the thing. It's not Like, if he was playing Heimerdinger Jace and he was going to have access to... and he was going to have access to turrets, then sure, I think I feel a little bit better about... there's the timelines. I think I feel a little bit better about picking up the Time Winder, since we can deal 1 damage to a turret and have it be relevant. Against Jace Lux, I just don't think we're going to have the targets. Even with the Forge Chief sitting on the board, I just don't think it's something we want to deal with. All right, but opponent comes in with Jace, gives us a nice opportunity to drop in the Aloof Travelers. He picked up and then immediately discarded Albus Pharos. I'm not entirely certain how I feel about that. I assume he just has some kind of 6th cost unit for the next turn, but no real complaints getting rid of Albus, and then we got a really strong attacker here with the Ren Shadowblade.
Let the light guide you.
Lux coming in. We don't have a lot of really strong units here. I don't want to add the Shadow Fiend, since it's just going to convert with our timeline. So I'll drop in the Wandering Shepherd first, see if we hit something interesting. Pot of Pain is pretty good here. It's going to give us a unit that's big enough to deal with either Jace or with Lux. You have to worry about a removal spell coming in, sure, but the 5 health has to at least give the opponent a little bit of pause. I probably wouldn't get in front of Jace, but I would put Ren in front of Lux. Alright, Aloof number 2. Sure. See what kind of nasties we can get out of here. Our units for the turn, not typically that exciting, but Insightful Investigator is quite good when we have both High Note and this other combat trick in hand. We're not going to get usage out of it this turn, but maybe next turn we'll get to draw an extra card. We don't really need the cards at this point, though, right? We have a literal million cards in hand. Not a figurative million cards, a literal million cards. So, all right, I guess that works off of... I thought it was just 2-cost spells. Turns out Norra is a 2-cost card. We picked up the Castaway. Don't need it. It's not a big deal, but not the play I was expecting to see happen. But we got pretty good attacks here now. I'm more than willing to just start throwing away units at this point. Well, I guess we gotta take a little bit of that away with the Shock Blast coming in. Not what I was expecting. I guess the Shock Blast that got just discarded off of our Aloof was through Jace. So. Alright, I don't suspect he's going to make too much blocks here. He's got the final Spark in hand to be a little bit protective. Someone's going to come down and zap our Spring Guardian. Okay. All right. Wonder if we're gonna get the opportunity to Banana Blast old Jace here. He's got a pretty decent open attack lined up, but we don't have to worry about it a ton. This isn't a deck that's going to hit us with decimates after this attack, so I feel like we might get a little bit of time here. I would definitely like it if we can drop the Banana Blaster before he's able to play another 6-cost spell. It's quite a bit more challenging to get the kills with Banana Blaster at 5. Like with it 4, I don't know the math. Like if we were going to play this deck in an event, right? If we're going to play this deck at seasonals, it'd probably figure out what your percentage chance was of hitting a 4-attack unit or a 5-attack unit. But you know, I'm not going to do it for this video. Some other nerd can do the math, you know. Then who do we deem more important here, the Jace or the Lux? We probably should be going after Lux. She just strikes me as being a little bit more powerful with those removal spells coming in. So here, I don't expect to get the kill. I'm just hoping to get 4 damage so we can kill off Lux with the Mystic Shot afterwards. Right, the big decision coming in. You want to try and take down our Spell Shielder? Nope. That's interesting. I mean, it feels like he's probably just got another spell to pop this Spell Shield, but I'm really surprised that he didn't go for it. I'm just gonna keep passing. I was hoping we could get him in a spot to where he kind of gives up on taking off the Spell Shield, and then we get to get a spell and follow up with the Pot of Pain to get some protection. Didn't quite come together. Now we have 9 mana, so if we want to take down the Jace with the beam, we're a little bit limited. I don't really want him getting the chance to just double up on a spell, but I also don't want to be playing, Thermogenic Beam and no other card. I think we're just a little bit stuck. Oh, we gotta do it. Got to do it in this direction. First, the beam. Oh, we can't even follow up with that? Fine. Fine. We're about to just get ruined by this Jace, but we got ourselves into that mess. But I think it's fine to just attack. The Norra... She's not that impressive at this point. She's not going to do a whole lot. Yeah, here's exactly what I was worried about. The doubled up Jace on assembly line, getting the 6 units or the 4 units. But we kind of dug our own grave with this. We can somewhat deal with these, but definitely not in an ideal space. So I put the Pot of Pain on our Conchologist so we can get a good block. We're just going to try and get in front of as much of this damage as we can. Like, I mean, it feels like we're doing okay in terms of grinding. Like, I was expecting it to be, much worse than it's actually been here. Albus Pharos is a real problem, though. We can high note group shot pokey stick. We're 1 unit short of getting a 2 damage a 2 damage group shot, so we have to do it all. Right? Oh no, we are just completely short. Nice 7 damage Albus Blast. Oh, that's so bad. Alright, well we have to hit on our Portal Palooza. This is our shot. We either spike a unit immediately or drop a or pick up like a Mystic Shot. Alright, didn't hit. Damn. I knew what was going to happen there. I think it just felt like we had to take it. Like, I don't know. The assembly line wasn't even that bad. It was just a matter of the Albus being bad and not having enough damage at play. But I don't know. Like, I thought that was going to be like an entirely rough matchup, and it didn't go nearly as bad as I expected. So maybe it's just not as terrible as I was giving it credit for. But all right, up against the old Trundlemere, we get to start with the Concurrent Timelines, which is great. I was looking for some cheaper plays to go along with it. I'm fine to hang on to the Aloof. The Aloof is very good in this matchup, but I was looking for the kind of Conchologist plays or the Norra plays just so we can get on board a little bit sooner. But fine to get rid of Pokey Stick. It doesn't kill anything here. All right, Zonite Urchin into Zonite Urchin. The play of the day coming on through. Sure. So what do we got? I'm leaning towards the the Sandsworn Amulet. Opponent's probably not going to have any blockers here, and it does give us a extra point of health. So if we're going to run into something like avalanches, we have a chance to be a little bit safer. Not bad hitting old blocking Badger Bear. that's what you're due against these dirty emoting opponents, and so I feel okay there. I will drop in the aloof now. I'm not entirely certain if he wants to drop a buried in the ice next turn, but it would be nice to just take that option away. We hit a She Who Wanders here. Not bad. See what we can do. Big old board coming in. What's that? 13 damage coming through? Not a bad number. I will say here that there's a bit of debate, at least in the commonality of these lists, if people prefer to play Fan Club President or if they want to play Risu the Silent Storm. I think Risu's just garbage. Risu summons the 7/3 impact unit, which in like this matchup right here, Risu would probably look pretty spectacular, right? The opponent's going to play something somewhat irrelevant here, and then we would just have that big 7 attack impact unit. And it just strikes me as, kind of the space to where you might have a little bit of opportunity, but in general, that card's just trash. And so I'm fine to play the Fan Club President, which comes in and generates a ton of extremely relevant spells, like in that previous game to where we hit a Shunpo. That was pretty nice, but you can also hit things like stuns and harsh winds and stuff. There's just a ton of good 5-cost spells that are so much more relevant than Risu. It's very easy to just have a completely full board. All right, but nice crash of damage in here. And we've gotten ourselves in this pretty decent spot to where if opponent wants to, like, buried in the ice, we can still follow up pretty reasonably with what we have here. Look at this. There is the stun and cosmic binding, but I think we want deep meditation. Just give us the opportunity to give us the opportunity to pick up a couple of burn spells and end this game. And then there was the exciting unit there, the 8/3 Challenger, but I went for the bonus health on this turn. I wanted to just be a little bit safer, see if we can't have a unit stand through the day. All right. We certainly had some units stand. Is that going to be as buried in ice? Avalanche. Minor punish for not putting any dudes on the board, or putting the equipment on the board, the amulet. All right, Banana Blaster, what do you want to convert into? There's the Teeny Dactyl again, but we don't have any way to deal a point of damage this turn. So I think we're stuck with the Void Blaster. He's actually really close to hitting Evolve. We'll have to see. I don't think we've played in a tune yet. There's a very real chance we can flip our unit. Scout's a new ability, right? It's going to turn him into a 6 now. No. It did not. It did not do it. All right. So how do we feel about this next turn? We have the option to open attack here, but only dealing 3 damage doesn't feel like enough. And then opponent has the full 10 mana for the turn. I'm a little worried about that. Like, I think we just have to kind of risk it at this point and see if we can't punch in 2 or 3 points of damage and then go for the Deep Meditation next turn. And so if he has like a Tryndamere or a Trundle or something, that's all completely fine. If he has a Buried in the Ice, we might have enough stats to punch through it now. But it's rough. Sometimes you just hit 6/6s off of your timelines, though. It gives you the everything you need. All right, so he's only got 4 mana now. That really limits what he's able to do. Let's just go all in on our stuff. Unfortunately, none of these spells deal damage. All right. Unfortunately for opponent. He's saying, "Oh damn, Bust hitting 6/6s on his Banana Blaster." Nice. Good stuff, though. On to the next battle. This the same guy? Up against Trundlemere again? I wasn't paying attention to the name. Alright, we'll hang on to Norra. Reasonable early play. Dig for the timelines, which we found like a pro. Learn from the master. The best card in the game could perhaps be Concurrent Timelines, if you're willing to draw it in your opening hand every game. That's I'm giving you the top-notch strategies in case you didn't know.
Joy is a good look in a book.
All right, but let's lead off with Norra. He shouldn't be able to interact with her too well here in the early game. And then I feel pretty good about just taking this open attack. He's going to want to put in 5 mana for a ramp card. So he shouldn't be interacting with the Norra here. Okay. Now we can bring in the timelines. What you got for us? Wallop is interesting, but the Violent Discord is about to be active. Right? We're going to play the guy we have in hand. What's your name? Piltover Castaway. These cards are all trash, though. I guess the first time you discard a card or damage the enemy nexus, we should be able to turn this guy into a 3/3 pretty quickly. And Assembly Bot. Nice combo with the Violent Discord. So can we get out of this? If we play the Castaway, we're going to have 2 mana. Then we spend our 2 mana to Violent Discord the Feral Mystic. That counts as 2 spells for the Assembly Bot. And then our Castaway we can try and keep alive. Let's go with the Shepherd's Authority. Go for those stats. Are we going to summon 1-cost allies? It's a potentially real thing with the portals, but I think we just want to go with the Protege. He's the safer choice here. Might as well block, right? We're gonna lose our dude next turn anyways. All right, see if we hit. Bring those magical attacks in. 1 portal, not bad. Oh, we hit strong again. Get the Cunning Cat in there. LOL. What a nice portal hit. I don't know, man. We're starting to get up into the lottery ticket discussion with the luck that we've had today. This is always a tough spot for me to understand. A better master would have to let me know their thoughts and feels on it. But when you're just like out here super high rolling at every turn of the corner, how do you feel on what we should do? Do you say A, bust, you're just rolling so high today. You just have to take the chance on the lottery ticket. You know, you've been spinning the wheel at roulette. You've hit red 9 times in a row. You got to go for number 10. It's in the feelings of the day. Or do you say, fuck off, man, you just spent all your luck. You spent all your luck. You can't go and play any luck-based event for at least a week. You've used up all your luck today on Hunting Fleet and Cunning Kittens and the like. Just get it out of here. You're done. I'm never sure on the answer, but I might have to go make that $2 investment here a little later in the day. See if we can't change our lives. But what do we got here? Okay, we finally get the opportunity for a low roll, right? We needed 4 damage to kill off the Trundle with a group shot. We didn't find it in the units that we have here. Funsmith, kind of interesting. Hang on. Your spells and skills deal 1 extra damage. That's good enough, right? Because now our banana's going to deal 3. And then we'll do 3 with the group shot. Planned it that way. Nice. A little worrisome here, though. We're going to be short of lethal. Looks like we have 10, 14, 18, 21. So we have the damage for lethal, but it's against this deck, it's probably not enough. See if a Harsh Winds or a Vengeance comes through. Gets us to Exacties and a Catalyst of the Aeons. Okay. I wonder how this aloof is going to go. Opponent has the 8 mana Ice Pillar in hand, as we look to make him discard his most expensive card. Curious if it's just going to tag the Ice Pillar. Nope, feel the rush. All right, ready for battle. Destroys the equipment. Interesting. I guess our board is completely full at this point, and that's a 5-stat equipment that he just removed. Ooh, aloof number 2. We don't get the advantage with the aloof, right? He has the opportunity here to just play something expensive. It's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Well, we got him down to 3 cards. Maybe we can do something here.
Wasters, where you at?
Wasters, where you at? Oof. Doesn't have it. G. Mark it a W for bust. Oof. What we got now? Pirates? Man, I haven't seen Pirates in ages. This is one of these decks that I'm really curious what happens with the rotation, because it's a deck that, without fail, every seasonals is a deck that should be a tier 1 deck, but it doesn't get that massive play rate that it really deserves, and I've never been able to figure out why. If it was just a matter of it's a deck that's been around since the release of the Rising Tides, the second expansion of the game, and people just get kind of tired of playing it, or what the deal is. But it's another one of these decks that in the current meta that we're in, it should probably be seeing a lot more play than it actually is. I'm just going to get rid of the Mystic Shot here. We're going to regret that decision if he turns out to have Misfortune. But as far as the rest of this board is concerned, it's going to give us some opportunities for getting just cheaper blockers on the board. I'm not giving up on our Zonite Urchin just yet. Maybe we should since we have the second one in hand, but I definitely want to have a target for the Wandering Shepherd. I would like to have a bunch of shitty units and one good one, right? And so if we're able to kind of stack off the Wandering Shepherd abilities onto the Urchin, it gets the chance to grow and be our one good unit, and then the Wandering Shepherd can kind of hang out in the back line and still block. Again, this is something that's going to fail if he's got Misfortune, but if he doesn't have Misfortune, we should be okay. Now we pick up Timelines. Gotta stop. See how wide he's able to get. The most the most width possible is what he's deploying. Ouch. Wonder if he's gonna drop Misfortune or just open. Just open. Alright, only 4 damage. Definitely could have been worse. And we'll just take the biggest one of these. Ambitious Cultist it is. We can get the chance for this free spell next turn if we want, right? Once we've equipped an ally, you get the new spell. So we can play the Wandering Shepherd next turn and pick a spell up. Instead of playing Fan Club President. I don't think the Cultist is going to be dying anytime soon, though, so he definitely has a bit of time for us to get this this additional value. Wow, and the opponent going wide again. I would love it if we picked up another just like 2-drop. If we can play the Shepherd and a 2-drop just to get a little bit more width. Bird it is. So I got you, fam. I got just what you need. So I'm going to take the Fearsome. Interesting. I like the idea of Blooming Cultist having Elusive, but it's probably just a little bit too much. I like Buru Sentinel being able to, block the House Spider and survive for the round. As his board stands, he can't even block a Fearsome. Pretty cool. Our big strategy in the Singleton event, right? Let's play all of these equipment with Callista and a bunch of Fearsomes and see if we can't see if we can't take things down that way. Decimate. All right. So we got to be in a pretty good spot here. His hand just has to be completely full of burn. We'll just prevent maximum damage. Going to take us to 8. I'm leaning towards playing the Aloof here. See if we can't get get another Decimate out of his hand. Like the only cards we really care about at this point are burn spells, and with him not playing any units last turn, there's a very real chance he's got 2 Decimates in hand here.
Look, a thing.
Elf, that's not ours.
Decimate gone.
No prey, no pay.
Okay. I was wanting to talk a little bit of trash about this Unworthy being in hand and not doing anything, but it does have the actual real potential here to to come in and say you can't block our Fearsomes, right? Interesting. Ooh, double up or Moonlit Affliction. Wow, lots of really high powered stuff here. Even the Elusive thing. I'm leaning towards the Elusive thing. Like, making it so 2 of his units can't block isn't that big of a deal, but... Ooh, look at this now. That's so big.
Like a fish in water.
Zap is a little annoying. But I think we're still okay. Oh, it's got to hit a follower? No, that's probably not worth spending the time on. So, do we want to put the Elusive onto... I think it needs to go onto Kato, right? Then we can come in with this. Misfortune will block a 3 down here. You can only put a 1 health in front of the Benefactor. Or,
Can't do this.
ooh, that's short of damage, isn't it? Might have been a little sloppy. Maybe we should have put Overwhelm on our Cultist. I'll be real with you, I didn't stop and do any real math there. This is just this is the way that you're just typically going to get maximum damage in. But oh wow, he's sending burn spells onto units. Oh, that's not good, fam. That's not good. Now we've picked up the Bandle tree. Look out! So interesting. The only ways that you really lose here are going to be to say like an attack into a decimate, or I think that's it.
You dropped something.
I dropped everything.
Give him the extra shot at drawing something here. He discards Twisted Fate at 4 mana, so I think we win. I think we win. The only card you have to worry about here is Nox and Fervor, right?
I apologize to your parents. Think your fear.
You like these odds?
Okay. So we'll put our Buru Sentinel in front of the biggest one since it's going to die regardless of what it blocks. Everybody else can come in and survive the turn. And I think we're good to go from here. Get Misfortune Banana blasted. And then we're definitely open attacking. We are not we are not getting out in front of a decimate. Oh my gosh, he hits face, but we're still safe. Like you have to worry about falling to 3 here because of Nox and Fervor, but his only target is the Spiderling, and we can pokey stick the Spiderling away. Okay, fam, we're all right. We're alive and well. Punch it. Hit the nos, bruh. Hit the nos. I'm getting excited, man. Hitting the nos. Talking about these kind of things. Oh, and he hits. He hit. Oh man, no, we saw through that one. But the Fast and the Furious X, is that what they're calling the final installment of the Fast and the Furious? That's going to be coming out soon. We are about to do another watch through of the entire Fast and the Furious series before the final ones come out. I am hype. I love me some Fast and the Furious. It's tough to decide a lot of things for me because in the beginning it's kind of all about the cars, right? It's just this kind of car racing porn movie, not dicks and fucking kind of porn, but car porn movie. The people wanting to drive fast and slam the nos and stuff. And it certainly does a lot of that. But then as time moved on, they got into that real kind of groove of not taking themselves too seriously, but still just doing a bunch of cool shit in every movie. And I think around, say, like Fast 6 or Fast 7, they really hit their stride. And I love every minute of it. I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't going to like the Fast and the Furious. They're going to be like, ugh, this movie it's no good. The plot's always stupid. Well, you don't go and watch Fast and the Furious for the plot, right? I guess you're the same kind of guy that's, hoping to catch a real plot out of watching the porn movie as well, since that's what we're apparently on the topic of. You're out here being like, oh man, the plumber didn't really fix the sink. But it's good stuff. I'm a little worried about it. They've gotten into a bit of a tiff with Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, of course, does take himself very, very seriously, and he takes the role of oh god, I can't even remember his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Dominic Toretto. There we go. He takes the role of Dominic Toretto very seriously, but they've lost out on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and the like, and they've switched directors on the final movie. I worry about it a little bit, but
Within my grasp.
see. We'll see what goes.
Persistence is key.
All right, surprised to see this attack here. This is typically a pretty terrible attack for Rise. If you think about what's going to happen with this game, right? He's in the space to where he just wants to be sitting around blocking our units every turn of the game. And if we're able to get wider than him, then there's a pretty good chance he's not going to be able to block all of our units. And so, very surprised to see him throw 2 dudes in front of ours, as that kind of leaves him in the spot to where he can't take our units down. Now this was I was thinking in my head that we were going to kill this Eye of the Dragon with a banana blaster and still be able to attack, and then I I realized we haven't played a Timelines this game, so we're going to have to give up on this turn. Not super ideal. Maybe we'll find a pokey stick or something to take the Eye of the Dragon down, but that was a little bit sloppy.
Look, a thing.
L, that's not ours.
Get that Rise out of hand? We did. Not bad. RIP Banana Blaster. All right, well, I guess opponent has a deny in hand. He's sitting around deciding if he wants to protect his Eye of the Dragon or not. Turns out he does. I gotcha. Right, well, we'll just get 2 dudes down for the turn. Let's bring in the Castaway, and then we'll put a we'll put a weapon over on our Aloof. Do we even want to put a weapon on our Aloof? It's nice having this 2-power unit on the board that can soak up a hit from the Shard of Betrayal. And so maybe we play the Wandering Shepherd and just self-target with it. Right, well, opponent's gonna have all the shards at this point. Oh, that was a trinket trade. I thought that was another shard generator. Sure thing.
No fixing that.
So what do we got here? Do we want to go for the combat reel? I think that's going to be good. We get to at least generate some mana here, and then make it a little easier to play some of these additional equipment.
Do I have to?
Something coming in. Steel Tempest and a Rune Prison. Absolutely. Alright, well. Let's see if opponent's got that second Rise. He's definitely ahead of us in terms of not dying. Right? We really need to finish this game off on the next attack. I don't think it's really gonna have the chance to be successful, but that's kind of where we're at. Okay. Whew. I don't know what I think about Rise in the sense that as a game we've found a lot of metas to where I call it just either a turn 8 or a turn 9 meta, and typically the turn 8 metas get something dealt with them, right? We've had a couple to where you would just be able to win the game on turn 7. And that was typically in the space of like a Turbo Thralls deck was one of the non-aggro decks that were able to just crush through in the extreme early game. And Riot typically says no to that and slows them down. And then that kind of turn 8 to turn 9 space is where you kind of start to see things get nerfed down. And Rise is certainly in that space to where he's a kind of turn 8 or turn 9 player. But he has just kind of gotten upgraded, and it's one of those cards as to where I don't think the games are particularly fun, but they aren't that oppressive. But it's most certainly one of those cards to where you get to basically just say, oh, it's turn 9 of the game, then I lose. And there's very little kind of counterplay to the things that are happening, and I just think it's a poorly designed card. It's one of those cards that strikes me as being, fairly interesting for something like Path of Champions, but it's not that interesting for the kind of general ladder combats and such. Right, well, I'm eyeballing this River Shaper in the middle because drawing spells is always cool, but we'll go with the real unit here in the Merciless Hunter. She gets to be extra large, have the vulnerables ready. Not a bad dude. But no, the thing with Rise is I kind of assume that with a card that was just released, right? He was just brought upon the world at the end of the World Ender, that he's probably not primed and ready for a rotation. So I think we're kind of stuck with Rise for a while. Sure. Say, not today, man. My fearsomes are coming in. It's a fearsome party out here.
We'll get our licks in.
We'll get our licks in. Alright, not bad. An opponent's only going to have 5 mana this turn, so they can't really pop off with anything. Not bad, not bad. Goes for a quick attacking Jace. Okay. Do we want the Camaverin Dragon? It's another fearsome. Unfortunately for the fearsomes, he's got the Jace on board now, though, but I don't think the stats of the Profiteer are really worth missing out here. So if I want to get the dragon on board, then we'll just end up Mystic Shotting the Forge Chief and then open attacking next turn. Is that even where we want to be? I mean, if I stop and rethink of this, the Forge Chief can't block any of our fearsomes, and so if we get him down to 2, we can just kill with Mystic Shot. Let's go for it.
Step aside.
Yeah. Bit of a bummer. Still feels good, though. His unit doesn't really matter. We got his Jace off the board. He's stuck at 5 mana again, so we can't play any of his big spells. Right, if it is the man of tomorrow, ready to eat some banana. Get out of here, brother. Get out of here, fool. Get banana blasted. Nice. All right. Good set of games. Well, we've hit right around that hour mark, so we'll go ahead and call it a day. It's 7 games. We can pull this deck up and talk about it a little bit more. There's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about with this. And so first off, this is a reasonable deck. We were, pretty high rolly in terms of our timeline hits today, but it's still a deck that generates so much value that if you're just kind of playing a dirtle around game, it can kind of dirtle with the best of them, right? It's not as good at it as, say, like Norra Swain or one of these really kind of dedicated decks, but it can just sit around and play a value game for a long time because you get so much out of the equipment and the conchologists and the fan club presidents and everything. And so it's got that going for it, but then it really just kicks it into overdrive whenever you hit on the concurrent timelines. And so it has that going for it. And then again, I do see a lot of people playing cards like Risu the Silent Storm. I think that's just garbage. A fan club president is far and away better in every single situation. So the situations where you do have the timelines and the ones where you don't, I would almost certainly rather just have a 5-cost spell set to 2 mana than I would a 7/3 impact. Like, what have you ever done with a 7/3 impact unit? You've attacked with it, and you've traded with your opponent's 2-drop. There's a lot of times you attack with it and trade with your opponent's 1-drop. Like, that's just nothing. It attacks, does 1 point of damage because it has impact, and then you're just done with it. And so get that nonsense out of here and come back to playing with the fan club president. Now, in terms of the metas and the like with this, I think the meta is wide open enough now to where you can just play whatever you want. It's not that big of a deal, but this is a deck you have to understand is going to be kind of polarized in its matchups. You should not be beating Jace Lux like we were earlier. You should not be beating Rise ever. You should not be beating any of the Norra mirror matches. You should not be beating Darkness. Like any of these kind of control decks that just have a bigger game than you. Their game is just much better and much stronger than much better, much stronger than hitting concurrent timelines with Banana Blaster. And so you're really looking to kind of focus in on those more mid-rangey matchups and those more aggro kind of matchups because you just don't have enough game against the slower control decks, even with all the cards that we're generating. But nonetheless, it's a fun deck. The last thing I wanted to say, I've talked a fair bit about the LP here over the past few videos, and my thing with the kind of competitive landscape as it is I feel like Riot has really touched off on the top end of the competitive meta. Those people that really care about realistically qualifying and realistically winning worlds, and I feel like they've done quite a bit of work for that more casual space, as to where if you were a Magic player and you might turn up to a Friday Night Magic, or you might turn up to a pre-release, or you might go to a random draft once a new set comes out or something. I feel like that's what really ties in with the reward track out of the new set. And I feel like the space that's kind of ignored right now is that I kind of call it a casual competitive, as to where you're probably into Masters, you're sitting at maybe 0 LP, and you don't feel like you really have anything left to do in the game. And my kind of thought and feeling on that is the reward track is kind of tuned into those people, but that's fine. I think the kind of real downside to that is there's no stratification within the Masters LP meta. And so you don't really have that opportunity, I think, to say, okay, well, last season I capped off at 100 LP. This season I'm capping off at 150. I get my sense of improvement that way. It just feels like within the Masters meta right now, or I should say within the Masters rankings right now, you either have like 200 LP plus, or you have 0 LP, and then there's not enough leeway in between. It's just with the plus 15, minus 25 LP gains, it's just too easy to lose everything you've kind of achieved. You have a 70 win percent rate across 20 games. That's very good. But then you go on like a 3-10 lose streak, and you've lost everything that you've just gained, and you're back down in that 0 kind of LP space. I wish that there was kind of a better spot for it. And now, as we're getting towards the end of the season, I'm curious if that's not why they really kind of came out and expanded Masters. As I've seen with this account, we're able to kind of, this isn't my main account, and we're able to kind of like bounce around in the not 0 LP space, even though we aren't trying to be kind of ultra competitive with it. And I'm curious if the kind of fix for that is just not having more of those people in Masters, or if that was the fix, opening up Masters for more people, but too many people just sit at 0 LP and don't care, right? So you hit Masters, say, I have nothing else to do, and you just quit playing. So something interesting. It's just like I've noticed over the past few videos that I've been kind of like sitting in that space on my kind of fuck around account, to where I'm not just hanging out at 0, and I kind of see that kind of picking up here at the end of the season. But I'm curious as to what that's kind of coming from. But nonetheless, that was a fun video. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.